my God. This man's just different. It's different, right? We all saw the fight. We know what happened. Takes Whittaker down, gets a hold of him, crushes his face. Saw some memes doing the rounds, like the mountain from Game of Thrones. Have you seen that scene where he crushes the guy's head? Like, this was Robert Whittaker on Saturday night. Robert's got a great sense of humor, so he wouldn't mind us talking like this. It's just unreal, because I was having this conversation with Callum last night. I just landed back from Abu Dhabi, exhausted. But it's like his wrestling, Dad. Technically, it's good, but it's nothing groundbreaking. He's not doing anything new, but he's just so strong and so explosive. So when you combine good technique with ridiculous power, it's just going to work. Now, let's talk. Robert Whittaker, number one. No one ever does that to Whittaker. Nobody. And somewhere, Kamaru Usman's smiling right now. Because he did that to Usman, but he survived and then arguably won rounds 2 and 3. So I think that sets the stage for Usman versus Bilal. Do Usman versus Bilal, because that proves that Usman ain't done yet. Usman stepped up on short notice. Anyway, nobody's done that to Whittaker. Right? And Whittaker's extremely experienced, been in there with Yoel Romero, Israel Adesanya, you name it, he's been in there with all of them. And to get his hands around his face and to just crush it like that, that is the most ridiculous power ever. Now, Whittaker came out and said that he had some issues with his teeth. In fact, Brian, did you say you had a little video there?
But how do you feel health-wise? How's your teeth?
I'm all right. Like, it wasn't the jaws, the teeth. The teeth got pushed in. I've always had the kind of like loose teeth, and they got looser.
So, which moment did you actually broke your teeth? Can you remember?
Was it him squeezing, or was it before?
No, it was the face crank. Like, his forearm just went straight on the bottom tooth. I didn't have a moment to turn the head or anything. It was just on. It was on. It is what it is.
What I mean is, like, is it just like an unfortunate moment, or is it just like?
I don't know. Like, if I didn't have such vulnerable teeth, maybe I would have had another second to turn my head. Or maybe not. You know what I mean? It's just, I just got caught in a bad position, and the rest is history.
That's why you got to love Robert Whittaker. Because, right, listen, let's be honest. At the end of the day, we're competing. We're trying to win. We're trying to win a fight. We're trying to win us in a sport, our chosen profession, And yeah, he lost, and he lost in a bad way, and it derailed his potential future title fight, crushed his teeth in. There's embarrassment. There's shame that you put on yourself. There's regret. There's all this type of stuff. There's annoyance for wasting all of this time training your goddamn ass off, pushing yourself to the absolute limits, missing birthdays with children, social engagements. There's all that stuff, But at the end of the day, it's our choice, and we step in there, and sometimes you win, and hopefully most of the time you win. And if you're really special, all the time you win. But sometimes you lose. And that's the way you've got to look at it. I see some people talking about when they take a loss, like the world collapsing. It's like, well, you try and do that to every person you step in there with. You're trying to do that to them. And that's how you have to look at it. And it's not a case of just dealing with the loss better, or as the kids say these days, coping. It's like, it is what it is. That's why we all love Robert Whittaker. But if you look, here's a comparison I was saying. Look at Khabib versus Conor. Again, it was a face crank, which he turned into a neck crank. So when you can't get the forearm under the chin and it's on here, you kind of pull it to the side, and it yanks the neck to the side and becomes extremely painful. Right now, with my condition, I would tap in about 0.6 seconds. But he just squeezed him straight on and collapsed his teeth and potentially his jaw. I saw some image doing the rounds about his jaw. I don't know if that's true or not, but either way, unbelievable.
Yeah, and I mean the setup with I think it was the elbow right before too, right? Like he elbows like to one quick elbow to the side of the jaw and then snap the crank on. And it's like I was actually talking to my buddy who like does like a decent amount of jujitsu, and that was my first question for him. Was like, dude, is this just going to become the new thing? Like guys are too good at protecting their neck and doing like basic jujitsu like defense where the neck might not be available, but you can always get something around the face. And he's like, it's pretty much only Khamzat that's going to be able to consistently squeeze like that and pop someone's teeth out. That's nuts.
Yeah, look, listen, when you take the blade of the forearm, so the blade is here, the bony part at the end, and you drive that into someone's face and you squeeze. That's what I always say on commentary. It's painful. Imagine like your lips pushing up against your mouthpiece and your bottom teeth and everything, and you're squeezing like crazy, driving it in as hard as you can. And these are very, very strong people. It's agonizing, but they're trying to slip it under the chin. The problem is you do that, it generates pain, and then you're trying to squirm and move around and you're trying to fight the hands, and eventually, boom, they pop it under the chin and then it's done. It's not going to be a norm. It's not. There's a reason why it's the first time we've seen it done like that. Okay, it won't be the norm, Harrington, but it's not surprising from Khamzat. It's just not. I mean, it was crazy because last week he was very humble.
Oh, yeah.
Super humble. He looked like a different version of himself. I sat down with him on my YouTube channel. We did a quick interview. He looked like a professor. He had the glasses on. His energy was very calm. He was super humble at the press conference. He had the nicest things to say about Robert Whittaker. He went up to the mountains of Chechnya or Russia, was training up there at altitude. He was much, much lighter and leaner than what he usually was, but it didn't affect his power. Jesus Christ.
No, didn't seem to be wasting a ton of energy, with like getting all hyped up at the press conference, putting all that emotion into, getting the crowd fired up, because it's like, I don't know, dude, he's been in the UFC since 2020? It's now 2024. He hasn't gotten a title shot off of all those theatrics. You know what I think just guaranteed him a title shot? Face cranking Robert Whittaker's teeth out, right? That's what really matters, is like these high level performances. I think the thing, not to be a downer, but the thing with his kid earlier this year is like, that's massive. That'll change you as a person, I'm sure, to have a child with major health complications. And I can see why the theatrics and the pomp and circumstance. Oh.
No. You got to finish your sentence. Maybe I missed this. What happened with his child?
So if I'm not mistaken, he had a newborn son this year who had to have like 2 kidney surgeries in like the first few months of their life or something like that. And he talked about it this last week about being super depressed, super down, not really finding the motivation to get up and to get up and go. And it's like, that's understandable when you're dealing with something major like that with your tribe. I've seen it affect friends of mine in really major ways. So it's like to kind of put all that, like the pomp, the circumstance, the nonsense, the character to the side, and just commit to, I'm here to get belts, I'm here to get money, I'm here to prove that I'm the best in the world. Like, that is a Khamzat I can get behind.
Oh, absolutely. And he was humble, and he was calm, and he was in control until he walked out, and then he just sprinted to the octagon. I'm like, oh, he's still in there. You know what I mean? Because you want to control yourself a little bit. When you're in public and you're doing interviews, you want to, you want to refine yourself as you go through life. You don't always want to be whatever version that you were. You always want to be changing, and you always want to be evolving, and you always want to be improving as a person as you go along. People say, oh, you've changed. Yeah.
That's the point.
For the better. That's the point. I used to be a dickhead. I used to do this. Now I don't as much, still do sometimes. No. So you want to see that growth as a person, that maturity, but you still want Khamzat Chimaev to be Khamzat Chimaev inside the octagon. That's what he's here for. And when he walked out and he just sprinted, I thought, oh God, here we go. And I didn't think he would change his approach, because if he changed his approach and paced himself, it wouldn't be Khamzat Chimaev. It wouldn't be what makes him so successful in the first place. And of course, he didn't do that. It was just unreal. It really was. Now, I guess the conversation now immediately turns to, does he fight Dricus du Plessis next? We'll talk about Magomed Ankalaev versus Rakic in a second, of course. But what you want to do is when you're trying to get a title fight, you want to make a statement. You want to give people a reason to want to see that fight. You want to have those holy shit moments. Like we saw from Max Holloway versus Justin Gaethje. Gaethje was next in line. And yeah, sure, Max beat him, but he didn't just beat him. We got that holy shit moment. We got an incredible performance. We got Max Holloway saying to the world, it's undeniable. Give me the shot against Topuria. Well, Sean Strickland's piping up, and I always had some things to say. If you can find his tweets, Brian, bring them up. And yeah, Sean did beat Paulo Costa.
Split decision.
Split decision.
Garbage split, but still.
Split decision. Never defended the belt. I'm trying to be careful because I don't want it to sound like I'm ripping on Sean, because I'm not. But then you've got fresh meat, you've got fresh blood, you've got the undefeated record, you've got the domination of almost everyone that he fights, and then you've got him taking out one of the staples of the middleweight division and just destroying him, doing it easily, and giving us something we've never seen and just crushing the man's face. So Strickland said, understand one thing, I am next in line. It's been said, it's been written. January, Feb, me and Drix du Plessis are scrapping. Go back to Chechnya and wait a few months. UAE. You're not allowed in Chechnya. But hey, crypto scams while you wait. I mean, Sean's not bothered. He's not scared of talking a bit of shit.
No, I mean, I think Sean Strickland wants to fight Khamzat at some point. Like, he fully expects to fight him, no?
I mean, yeah. I mean, they're in the middleweight division, and they're like top guys. I asked Khamzat last week in my interview about Strickland. I said, because that video came out where he said, you're better than everyone, and then apparently he tapped you out or whatever. He's like, yes, I tap out Strickland many times. I'm like, oh, really? What'd you get him with? With choke, armbar, kimura, many things. I beat him on feet, I beat him on ground. I was like, all right.